Hello everyone, welcome to this session. I am Bhuneshwari from Department of Civil Engineering. In this session, we are going to learn about the three-hinged arches. Before entering into the type of three-hinged arch, we have to know what is meant by arch. An arch is a curved structure or hemmed beam primarily bears the applied loads by compression. The arches are shaped to take the load above them and develop only compression. In this chapter, we will learn that this is not strictly true and arches to develop bending moments and the shears too. But they are predominantly in compression, and this is the major advantage since the bending is an inefficient mode of material use. The hinges introduced anywhere in the arch makes the structure determinate, as both the supports are assumed to be hinged. Hinge introduced in the arch provides a further equation to analyze the arch, that is, moment of all forces about the hinge is equal to 0. And then classification of arches. Arches can be classified based on the material used for construction and based on the shape, based on the structural behavior. Arches can be built of masonry, reinforced concrete or steel. So this is based on the material which has been used for the construction, and based on the shape it can be classified as parabolic arch, circular or segmental arch, elliptical arch, or otherwise polygonal, like that, or any other curved shape. And then based on the structural behavior it has been classified as three-hinged arches, two-hinged arches, fixed or hingeless arches, fixed arch with a hinge. In this session we are going to learn about what is a three-hinged arch and how it has to be analyzed to find out the bending moment, normal thrust and shear. Three-hinged arch. Here we can see the image of the three-hinged arch where the hinges will be provided at the two supports and at the crown. This is what mentioned in the image. The hinge at the crown, they will provide hinge at the crown. To make the analysis simple, it has been the practice to introduce the structural hinges in arches. But there are three-hinged arch with hinges introduced at the springings, which means at the supports and at the crown, and the two hinges. In the case of two-hinged arches, the hinges will be provided at the springings alone. So this is applicable to both steel and RCC arches. In hinges, while they save the computational effort, make the arches structurally less efficient, the hinges are also difficult to fabricate and maintain. The justification for hinges at the springings is that the supports are kept free of any moments transmitted from the arches. Hinges at the crown is simply a case of save the calculations and spoil the structure. Hinges are also known as articulations since they allow the arches to swing a little to the left or right. And we have to know the load transfer mechanism in arches. The curved shape of the arch makes it both beautiful and inconvenient. When an arch spans over a long length of a bridge, where do we have the road deck? Not along the curve. We have to make the special efforts to support the deck by suitably filling the spandrel or bracing the spandrel like that. The deck may also be supported at the level of the springings by suspending a stringer beam along the length from a series of suspenders from the arch to the stringer. Such an arch would be called a bowstring girder. In any case, the deck load and the vehicular load on the deck get transferred to the arch. In the succeeding sections, we will analyze the internal force components, which means the normal thrust, bending moment, and then radial shear which acts in the arches, which means developed in the arches due to such loadings. If we see some terminologies which I have been represented here. initially we have to know what is a springing. Springing is the lowest point of arch where it meets the support. And then crown. Crown is the highest point of the arch. Rise. Rise is nothing but the vertical height of the crown above the springing. And then soffit. Soffit is the lowest surface of the arch. Span. Span is the horizontal distance between the two springings. So, these are some of the terminologies in arches. Then we have to know what are the forces acting at the section of arches. First one is bending moment, normal thrust and radial shear. As we all know what is the bending moment, as in case of the beam, like that in the arches, normal thrust. So let me know what is normal thrust. Normal thrust is the axial force along the tangent of the arch at any point normal to the section. And then radial shear. Radial shear is the shear along the normal to the tangent at any point on the arch parallel to the section. Arches formula, this is particularly for the 3-hinged arches. T is the resultant reaction, which may also be represented as RA and RB, which means the resultant reaction at the support A and resultant reaction at the support B, which is equal to VA square plus H square, or otherwise root of VB square plus H square. The next thing, Y. Y represent the rise at a certain distance. If you want to calculate the rise at a particular distance, we have to use this formula. And then theta, which is equal to tan inverse of 4h divided by L squared into L minus 2x. Next one, the normal thrust and radial shear. So the normal thrust is nothing but the total force acting along the normal. The total force acting along the normal, and the radial shear is the total force acting along the radial direction. Total force acting along the radial direction. So as we have done in engineering mechanics, we have to resolve those forces. So we will get normal thrust is equal to h cos theta plus v sin theta, and radial shear is equal to v cos theta minus h into sin theta. So what is h? H is nothing but the net horizontal force at point, and v is the net vertical force at the point, and then theta is nothing but the slope at that particular point. Okay, let me solve one problem for 3-hinged parabolic arch. A parabolic 3-hinged arch carries a UDL of 30 kN per meter on the left half of the span of 16 meter and a central rise of 3 meter. We have to determine the resultant reactions at the supports, and then to find the bending moment and normal thrust and radial shear, all at a distance of 2 meter from the left support. So first we have to draw the 3-hinged parabolic arch, and we have to represent the UDL of 30 kN per meter on the left half of the span. On the left half of the span, here they have given the central rise of 3 meter. So this is the 3-hinged parabolic arch where the hinges are provided at the springings, at the spring A and at the spring B and at the crown C, and they have given the span of the arch is 16 meter and the rise is 3 meter. Here VA represent the vertical reaction at support A and VB represent the vertical reaction at support B. H is the horizontal force, and RA and RB is nothing but the resultant reactions at the supports A and B. And then they are mentioned in the problem, the UDL is act at the left half of the span. So the intensity of the uniformly distributed load is 30 kN per meter. So we have to represent that UDL in the left half of the span. And then here I have represented it as Y at a distance of 2 meter from the left support, because in this problem they are asking to find out the radial shear, normal thrust and bending moment from the left support, which means from A at 2 meter. So that's what I represented here. Let's solve the problem. Okay, step 1. So initially they are asking to find out the bending moment, radial shear and normal thrust. So before that we have to find out the resultant reactions, which means we have to find out all the reactions, vertical reaction VA and VB, and then the horizontal force HA and then HB, and then resultant reaction RA and RB. That is the step 1. And then step 2 is to find out the bending moment at 2 meter from the left support A. And then step 3 is to find out the radial shear at 2 meter from A, and step 4 is the is to find out the normal thrust at 2 meter from the support A, which means from the left hand support. We have represented, we have to find out those bending moment and radial shear and normal thrust from the left hand support. So first we have to find out the vertical components of the reactions. Okay, so the first step, vertical components of the reactions. So for that we have to take the moment about A. See, we have to take moment about this point. So by taking moment about this A point, we can find out the vertical reaction VA, and then by using the another equilibrium condition, summation of vertical is equal to 0, then we can find out the another vertical reaction. So here we are using two equilibrium equation. First one is summation of moment is equal to 0, and then the second equilibrium condition is summation of vertical force is equal to 0. See, moment about A, so VB into the total span distance is 16 plus 30. Here the 30 is the uniformly distributed load. That uniformly distributed load acts at a distance of 8 meter. So first we have to convert it into the point load. So 30 into 8. Another, this square represent the distance, 8 divided by 2. So minus VB into 16 plus 30 into 8 square divided by 2 is equal to 0. And then 8 square divided by 0, we will get 32. After simplification, we will get the value of vertical force, vertical reaction at B, which is equal to 60 kilonewton. The next equilibrium condition is summation of vertical force is equal to 0, which means VA plus VB. VA plus VB is equal to total load. Therefore, VA, which is equal to total load minus VB. So what is the total load? The total load is nothing but the uniformly distributed load which acts on the 3-hinged arch. So the load is 30. Initially we have to convert it into the point load. So 30 into 8 minus value of VB is 60. So 30 into 8 minus 60. Then we will get the vertical reaction at A is equal to 180 kilonewton. So at the first step, we have find out the vertical components VA and then VB just using the simple equilibrium equations. Next, we have to find out the horizontal components of reactions. So to find out the horizontal components of reaction, it is very important. Note that to find out the horizontal reaction, we will take the moment about the crown point C. So as you all know what is the crown point, at the center we have to take the moment, either from the left hand side or from the right hand side. Here I have taken in the left hand side, so we have to consider all the forces which is to the left of the crown. So as we all know, to the left of the crown there is the vertical reaction VA, and then the uniformly distributed load 30 kilonewton per meter, and then HA. HA is nothing but the horizontal component. See, so I am taking the moment about this point crown C, so I have to consider all the forces which is left behind that the crown C. So VA into the distance is 8, and then HA, this is the horizontal force. For the horizontal force, we have to consider the vertical distance. For the vertical force, we have to consider the horizontal distance. Therefore, VA into 8, and then HA into this 3, and then we have to consider this uniformly distributed load. First we have to make it as a point load. So 30 into 8, we have to multiply it by the distance. So 30 into 8 divided by 2. I am repeating, we have to take the moment about the crown point C. So we have to consider all the forces in the left hand support. We can take from the left or from the right. Here I am taking that moment from the left to the crown. So VA, this is the point VA. So VA into 8, and then HA into this YC, and then 30 into 8 to convert it into a point load. So 30 into 8 divided by 2. That's what I mentioned here. 30 into 8 divided by 2. So after substituting the value of VA, we will get the value of HA. HA, which is equal to 160 kilonewton. As we all know, the third equilibrium condition is summation of horizontal force is equal to 0. By giving summation of H is equal to 0, we will get HB is equal to 160, because HA and HP will be equal, because there is no any other horizontal force which acts on the arches. So the HA and the value of HP will always be equal. Next one, we have to find out the resultant reactions at A and B. RA, which is equal to root of VA square plus HA square. So as you know, the value of VA as we have find out in the previous step 180 and the value of HA is 160. So we will get 240.83 kilonewton, and then RB is equal to root of VB square plus HP square. So the value of VB is 60 and then value of HP is 160, so 170.88 kilonewton. So in the first step we have find out all the basic components, which means vertical reaction VA, VB, HA, HB, RA and then RB. So the second step we have to find out the bending moment at 2 meter from the left hand support. So now I am going to take out take the bending moment 2 meter from the left support. At the 2 meter from the left support, the UDL acts and then the vertical reaction VA act as well as horizontal component. So we have to consider those component and we have to take moment at 2 meter from the left hand support. So VA into 2 and then this is the UDL which acts at a distance of 2 meter from the left support. So 30 into 2 represent it as a point load, and then 2 divided by 2 we will get 1 minus HA into Y. So this is what I have represented here. Initially I have said in the parabolic arches, if we want to find out a rise at a particular distance, we have to use this formula. Here R represent the rise and L is the length of the span and X is the sectional distance. Here in this problem they are asking to find out a 2 meter distance. So we have to substitute the value of X as 2 and value of the length of the span as 16 and the value of rise is 3. So 4 into 3, 3 is nothing but the rise at the crown and 16 is the length of the span and 2 is the sectional distance and L is again 16 meter minus 2. So we will get rise Y is equal to 1.3125 at a 2 meter from A. So now here we have to substitute the value of Y. So after substituting the value of VA, HA and then Y, we will get the bending moment at 2 meter from the left hand support as 90 kilonewton per meter. Then step 3, radial shear. As you all know what is radial shear. The radial shear is the total force acting along the radial direction. So we can find out simply by using this formula. Rx is equal to Vx cos theta minus H into sin theta. Here the radian can be determined by using this formula. Theta is equal to tan inverse of 4 into 3 divided by 16 square, where R is the rise 3 meter and L is the length of the span 16 meter. Again X is 2 meter and length is 16 meter. By substituting those values we will get the value of theta. And all you know H is the horizontal component, and now we have to find out the net vertical shear Vx. So it is very simple. The net vertical shear at a distance of, we have to find out at a distance of 2 meter from the A. So at 2 meter distance we have only two vertical components. One is VA and another one is the uniformly distributed load. So VA minus W into 2. So value of VA is 180 and the value of UDL is 30. So we will get V is equal to 120 kilonewton. So by substituting the value of V and then theta and then H, then we can find out the radial shear is equal to 26.15 kilonewton. So the last step is to find out the normal thrust at 2 meter from the support A. So the normal thrust formula is, so the normal thrust is nothing but the total force acts along the normal, so which is equal to Vx into sin theta plus H into cos theta. So Vx is nothing but the net vertical force at that point. Here they are asking to find out at 2 meter from the left hand support. So in the previous step I have find out the value of Vx and then H. So by substituting the value of Vx and then theta and then H, then we can find out the normal thrust as 198.28 kilonewton. As in the problem, they have asked to find out the radial shear, bending moment and normal thrust at 2 meter from the left hand support. Hope you all understand how to solve a 3-hinged arch by using this method. Let me meet in the next session by solving 2-hinged arches. Thank you.